Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. After our adventures building a zoo last week, which actually went very well, we're headed back to the World War Pacific this week for a new debut on the channel. This week we're playing Combat Commander Pacific by GMT Games. This has you playing out scenarios between the Japanese usually and some part of the Allies, whether it's the US or I believe the Australians are the other main force in this game. So this week's scenario, we're playing out scenario A, Grassy Knoll. Now, before we jump into setting too much of the scene for this one, I will mention that this is my very first game of playing Combat Commander Pacific on the channel. Actually, not my first game ever of Combat Commander, and that's coming up in point B, where my relationship with Combat Commander has been a little bit complicated. So let me explain what I mean by my relationship with Combat Commander being a little bit complicated. So I think last year sometime, I traded for this game when I was just starting my DVG purge, getting rid of all of my DVG games. I picked this one up, but I never did anything with it beyond the unboxing of it. Then right around Memorial Day last year, Jester and I played Combat Commander together on his channel, and I remember not being a big fan of it at all. I don't know what there was about it, but it just didn't work for me at that time. So I kind of filed away Combat Commander. I was getting ready to move it out of my collection, and I was actually working on a trade with Jester around that time, but he was like, you need to give this game another look. And I kind of tabled that for a little bit. Then I played Undaunted 2200 Callisto. I initially got Combat Commander vibes from this one, or from that game. So I initially put that away, but then I was like, wait a second, I think there's something here. So I pulled it out again, tried the first scenario again, and I realized Undaunted was actually a pretty good game. And it might have been helped by the theme as well. So I decided, okay, at that point I think we will go ahead and give Combat Commander Pacific at least a go on the channel. Now, I don't know if I'm definitely not going to jump on the Combat Commander ladder. I know Patrick's Tactics and Tutorials does an amazing job with the Combat Commander ladder. And if I were to ever step into my nearest recruitment office, as Pete puts it, I figure one of two things would happen. Either I'd get laughed out of the recruitment office, or I'd go on the ladder with a nickname something like Target Practice. Because I was not very good at Combat Commander at all when Jester and I played it. And I just don't know what it was. Maybe it was just that it wasn't my style of game. But we'll see what I think of it coming out of here. As I mentioned, our first scenario that we're playing today is the Grassy Knoll. So let's look at our situation report. Mindanao Island, Philippines, May 7th, 1945. After capturing Libby Airfield with the aid of Filipino guerrillas, the U.S. 24th Infantry Division found the assault toward Davao becoming exceedingly slow and ponderous. Exacerbating the issue was the preponderance of hemp fields in the area, now very much overgrown with disuse. Traversing these unkempt fields was slow going at best. Japanese forces of the 100th Division, however, found these numerous plantations extremely useful for hiding defensive strongpoints. Guerrillas continued to aid the Americans in their push toward Davao, and in one particularly nasty firefight on the 7th of May, actually proved decisive in overcoming a Japanese bunker that was covering a major trail break in the area. And I'm not sure what in the world this A1 through 6... Actually, I was probably just indicating which map I should be using for this. At least that's what I went with at the time. And I'm not going to lie as well. When I was working on setting this game up last night, the box almost went flying, and I almost set something else up on the table when I was laying this out last night. So we almost didn't get Combat Commander, and I very nearly moved away from this game. And there's still a pretty good chance that I will end up moving on from this game. I'm trying not to go into this game that biased, but we'll see what happens here. As far as setup goes, it might be a little bit hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom in on the victory point tracker. We've got all of our objectives laid out here. The Japanese are currently starting with 15 victory points since they control all of the objectives. And our open objective R Objective 5, we'll come back down to the map here. Let me zoom out a bit. Objective 5 is, can you guys see that? Yes, you can. Right down here, which is 10 victory points. Then we've also got, for a secret objective, they're supposed to be secret, but given that I'm playing solitaire, I'm technically going to know both of the objectives anyway. I'm going to be trying to play both sides to the best of their ability. Objective N is Objective 4, which of course is not on our part of the map. That is up right here. And the other objective is E, where controlling Objective 5 is worth 1 victory point. So I've adjusted the victory point track, as you can see up there, to where the Japanese are starting with 15 victory points. The US have guerrillas on time tracks 3, 4, and 5 on spaces 3, 4, and 5 of the time track. Sudden death starts at 7 and surrenders at 8. So this is just kind of me pushing some pieces around, and let's see what I think of Combat Commander Pacific. So we'll bring it back down. I'll zoom back out, and we will jump into this one. And I'll probably be in the rule books a lot in this scenario, so I'm going to try not to hold that against this game. But like I said, my relationship has always been a little bit complicated with Combat Commander Pacific, or with Combat Commander as a series. So, So we use the cards based on the order. So cards have 3 parts to them. There's an event, there's an order. We can do several different actions. There's an action, and then an event if something triggers an event. So presumably what would happen is if we make a roll and it's surrounded by an event like this, then we probably flip the next card over and resolve the event. So the first thing I think we want to do here, given how important Objective 5 is, actually the US player would know about Objective 5 being important, but the problem is that's all the way over here on this side of the map. But given that they've got the hidden Objective 4, they're going to use an order card. I wish there was a way in here that actually lays out, okay, here are the phases of the turn. Let's see, sequence of play may play 1 or more orders. Then draw back up, players switch turns. Okay. So it looks like they can play up to the OB limit for that scenario. In this case, OB limit, again in English? Let's see. Oh, probably probably based on the level of probably based on the OB display up here. So it looks like we've got 3 orders we can play. So I'll start off by using a move. I'll start off by using a move for the US. We'll activate this. Wait a minute, okay. We'll start off by using, I think I misunderstood stacking. So we'll do that and that. And I'll use this weapon company to bring them up to Objective 4. Moving into a jungle there costs 3 movement points. I'll make that my discard pile. And then when does control flip? Does that flip as soon as we move into it? Or... Let's see. Markers, control, 14.3.1. Control. If you have solely occupied an objective with a friendly unit, should flip it. Okay, so it looks like it flips immediately. So that'll flip over to US control. And then that wouldn't get revealed yet. But that weapon still has 1 more movement point, which I will use that to actually have them stay put. Then for another order, what kind of asset request options do we have here? A unit or player may only be activated once per turn. Okay. Alright. Okay. What do we want here? I don't think we have anything we can do for an asset request from the looks of it. Because we don't have any... Well, we do have night rules in effect. I think we'll just use another move order. And then which unit do I want to activate? I think we'll activate Lieutenant DeMoss, who's our leader for the U.S. right here. So he would normally get 6 movement points, but since I gave him a 50 caliber machine gun, he'll have his movement points reduced by 2. And he's probably going to start moving for Objective 5. Let's see, he's going to move... I'm not sure I want him moving forward too far, so 2, 4 I think is what we'll do, and then he'll activate everything He'll activate everything around him except the weapon unit, so the rifle unit that's right here, they will move... that looks like all open ground to me. So 1, 3, and then 2, 4 for that weapon unit. This one will move 1, 3, and then Sergeant Savage. You know what? No, I think we are just going to... We've activated once there, so... And then at the end of the turn, we draw back up. Sequence of play, see posture. Posture is assigned by scenario, okay. Largely used to determine the number of cards in the player's hand. Okay, so looks like the U.S. is done, which means they will draw back up. So 5 and 6. Ugh. Not getting any more movement there. So now let's see what the Japanese are doing. In this round, they don't really have much they can do either here. They have 2 orders right now since they're on defend. Actually, they're at level 2 on the OB track. So I think that's going to be I think it's going to be a move for them. And they are going to move... They're going to activate Lieutenant Dainichi, who's got a medium machine gun, normally 6, -1 is 5 movement points. What do I want him doing here? Let's go... He's trying to get to Objective 4, which is all the way over here. So he's going to move 1, 4, 5, then activating B Division, 2, and they'll stay put there. And I think that's the only order he's got there that he's able to do. What does charge? Japanese posture Banzai, but they are defend, so they're not doing that, which means they will draw back up. Infiltrate is not that good since they didn't put any. The Japanese had the option to put units on the infiltration boxes up here, but they chose not to do that. So, well, I chose to have them not do that. Mainly because I'm still pushing pieces around, kind of learning the game, but I also wanted to keep it as simple as I could. Then looking at the U.S., I think they're probably going to discard up to nation's discard capability. So I think the U.S. doesn't really have anything they want to do. Well, do they have something they want to do right now? They could they could have Lieutenant DeMoss fire at Lieutenant Dainichi all the way over here, presumably. I don't know if range is going to be that big of a problem, but any number of fate cards, those are the cards there. Let's see, so stacking. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see if we even can fire here. Announces a fire order, then activates in hex. Okay, so order 20.1. Oh, wait. Let's see. Bombing run, fire. At least one of the units to be activated must have an enemy unit within both its line of sight and range. And how do we... I saw this earlier. I'm trying to remember how we tell the range. Probably the second marker on the... Probably the second number on the marker. Where is it here? Oh, yeah, the range. Okay, so it is the second number, which means space of 1. Does the 50 cal machine gun increase it that much? Probably does. So, if I'm understanding that correctly, then that means we could have both FP and range stats. Okay, whenever a unit is activated, any weapon... Yep. Okay, so it looks like he can take a shot at Dainichi over here. He needs to get at least a... Is it at least a 9 to hit? Let's see, firepower. And the unit's base strength when in melee. When a fire order is announced, targeting roll must make a die roll, but multiplying, that is, by multiplying the 2 dice together, okay, so it looks like we multiply the 2 dice together. Alright, so I am going to use a fire order on Lieutenant DeMoss to have him target hex F4 with Lieutenant Dainichi there. And then the fire order works as... Okay, determine the range by counting the number of hexes from the firing piece to the targeting hex, including the target but excluding the firing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a range of 6 to it. Determine the range, which we did that. If the range is greater, the range on the 50 cal is 16, so we can definitely attempt it. The active player must make a die roll multiplying that is greater than the range. Must make a die roll, but multiplying that is greater than the range in order to hit the targeted hex. Okay, so we draw the roll. So we make the roll here, and the card we're drawing is a 3 by 3. Multiplying that is a 9, which will hit Lieutenant Dainichi. And what that means is, let's see, fire attack. So we fired together by combining into a fire group. Once the final firepower is determined, which there were no hindrances there, so we made the roll. Hold on. Instead, multiply the dice revealed for Sogeki Hex's fire attack. What? Okay, so we did multiply that. We got a hit, which means they have to make a defense roll for each of the units. Target unit's morale is added to the roll in order to arrive at a defense total. Okay, so the defense looks to be a 2, if I'm understanding that correctly. That's a command value. I don't think there's a... Let's see, there's a morale value of a 9, which... Does that get added? Modified by both cover and command is added to a roll to arrive at a defense total. Okay. Let's see, targeted units morale, modified by both cover and command, which Dainichi was not in cover, and command is a 2. So they have to make a fire defense roll one at a time in any order desired. So we had a 9 on the attack roll, which means the Japanese defense roll. Is this adding or multiplying? Let's go for targeted units morale. Okay. So we got a 9 fire defense roll. Fire defense rolls for 1 attack must be announced, yada yada yada. So we made a 9, which means we make our defense roll here. And that's a 5, which is more than half the unit breaks. So that'll flip Dainichi over probably to his broken side. Do we get the event roll? Because I noticed when I made the roll, it was surrounded by an event. So presumably we would get the event from that. Let's see, 1.7. Events are listed or never played from the hand, only off the top of the draw pile. 1.9.3. When a player makes normal gameplay pauses to execute the event. So the player making the roll reveals the top card of the reveals the top card of the draw pile, and then executes the event. So let's see what the event is coming up. Bushido. Rally 1 broken friendly unit. If you do, that unit becomes a veteran. Except there wasn't a unit that was broken before the attack, but there is now. So Dainichi does become broken now. Which obviously changes his stats. Then what do I want to do here? I think that will actually do it for the US. We probably are going to be dumping a bunch of cards here pretty soon. There's another fire. Okay, that might be welcome for the US. As for the Japanese, let's see what they're doing. Yikes, their hand is actually pretty terrible. So I think what they're going to do is they're kind of stuck here. This is a very bad situation for the Japanese to be in. They've got nothing they can do here. So I think they're going to discard their 2 infiltrates and their commanding... Actually, they can only discard 2 cards because night rules are in effect. So they will discard 2 cards, both the infiltrates, and they'll draw a pair of fires. That could be very useful for them. As for the US, well, I think they're going to run back the fire again, and they'll activate everything around them to turn that into a fire team. They're going to try to finish off Dainichi over here. So we'll make that into a total... I think that's how that works, that we can turn them into a full fire team. Let's see. Okay, so we're activating our leader to fire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once again, we can make the shot using the 50 cal. All right, the targeting roll. Oh wait, okay, so we have to actually draw 2 dice. So we have to actually make 2 rolls. So we're making a targeting roll at a space 6. So let's see what we get here. Multiplying the 2 together, that's a 5, so the attack will miss. The attack is canceled with no further effect. Okay, that was unfortunate. So nothing further happens there. What other order might we want to make here? I don't think there's anything else we can do right in this scenario. I don't think there's really any kind of asset request. Only if... Okay, so we can't establish communication. I don't think we really have anything we can do here with night rules being in effect. So discard any number of cards. But discarding doesn't replace his turn. Oh, that is an or. Okay, so there's nothing the U.S. can do here either. Ugh. And then we'll draw back up. As for the Japanese, they're very much stuck with not being able to do any. Well, they could try to turn the tables here potentially. Maybe it's their turn to take a shot. So yeah, I think the Japanese will use a fire, and they'll use Lieutenant Dainichi and the B division right here. They'll make a fire team aiming at. They'll make a fire team here aiming at Damas. Let's see. Actually, that doesn't come until later. Okay, once the range is determined, determine the range. Okay, so his range is a 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, he can definitely make that shot. So that's our targeting range. We'll make our targeting roll. So we are looking at a 6 for this. That's a 30, so we can definitely attempt the shot. Targeting and hindrances, we don't have any of those. Let's see, fire attack. Each piece activated may take one shot. So he's going to take a shot because we have the targeting roll to hit. 2 or more activated units or weapons may fire together by combining into a fire group. Okay, so now he can make the roll. So now you can make the attack roll, and he will find in an 8, which is less than I believe adds the 2 dice to arrive at an attack total. So that was an 8 for the fire attack. So now now Damas has to make a defense roll, adding 9. Looks like actually making that a 10. So his defense roll is a 4, which of the defense total has to make a fire defense roll, one at a time in any order desired, for each of his units that were in a hex at the moment that a fire attack was made against it. Okay. Let's see. The target unit's morale modified by both cover and command, which is a 9 plus 1 is a 10. If the defense total is half the attack total, if the defense total is less than the attack total but still more than half, the unit breaks. So, this is just, I don't know. The defense total, so targeted unit's morale. Maybe there's something in the example of play that will help me explain that a little bit better. Let's see. Let's now make a fire defense roll. A fire group is formed, yada yada yada. Okay. The Anzac squad is in the target and must make a fire defense roll. Morale is 8. So the Anzac squad 7. Okay, plus 1 for cover. Okay, so it's based on command, plus 1 for the terrain. Numbers added to a die roll of 6 and 2, so 8. Okay, so Damas was a 9 plus 4 is 13, which is very much good enough to not have anything happen there. Man, that was confusing, and I'm probably still kind of making a mess of it here. Hopefully you guys are going to be nice in chat and or the comments down below. And since Dainichi already activated to fire, he can't go again. Let's have B division. Actually, can they even take the shot? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. They can't take the shot, and I don't have a move order. Or I don't have another move order. So they will draw up, and they'll get a move order. Okay, as for the US, I think they're going to be dumping cards here. So they'll dump a pair of asset requests and drawing back up for their turn. And that will be it for their turn. As for the Japanese, they got a very welcome move order. So they're going to use that on B division to move. Actually, they're going to use it on Dainichi so B division can get a free move out of it. Dainichi will move here. And B division has got a movement of 4, moving through grass. It's going to be 2, 4, so they're moving forward together. And since they both activated for movement, they can't be activated to fire again. And I don't think anybody else wants to move anyway. And there's another move order for the Japanese. Now for the US. Actually, command confusion. I assume that's probably something that can scramble an effect. Let me see about that. Did I not have not an event summary somewhere in here? Radio tables, which I don't need for this scenario. Maybe something. Command confusion can't be played for an order. Can still be used for action or discarded. Say what now? Card cannot be played for an order. Hope that you have a decent action on this card. Which on... you don't. They don't. So I think we were over to the US turn. So they're going to discard 2 of the combat confusion, or command confusions, and draw back up, getting a pair of moves, which is very welcome. As for the Japanese, they are going to use... They're going to use a fire order using Dainichi to take a shot at Demos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the roll there. And grass doesn't offer... Oh, grass looks like it offers a line of sight bonus. Let's see, hindrances and line of sight to be considered a complete. So it looks like we've got hindrance equal to the number of the terrains will have its roll decreased by an amount equal to the number listed. So going through grass, is that for each? Hold on, is that for each through another hex, or equal to the number of listed? Equal to the number listed. Is too sparse or too low to be considered a complete hindrance to line of sight, and is thus termed a hindrance because it hinders fire traced through it. Looks like it only does that once. So he is going to use a fire order, which I think we did, to take a shot at Demos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can definitely take the shot, but let's see what the targeting roll is here. So we're multiplying these together. That's a 30, which means we can definitely take a shot there. And then he will take a shot using... Now we'll actually make a fire team using Battalion B, using B Division as well. So now, fire groups are never mandatory. Okay, weapons of the white band must always fire alone, which the light machine gun is not part of that. So the total firepower is X plus Y. We'll use X as Dainichi's medium machine gun with an 8 plus, yikes, plus an 8 there is a 16. Right? If line of sight from any non-ordnance firing piece to the target hex is hindered, because we had grass there, we had 3 to subtract it, so that turns it into a 13. So now we make the fire roll. And the fire attack roll is a 13. So 13 plus a 4 is 17. And what does the sniper trigger turn to? Or what does the sniper trigger mean? Trying to find that in here. Sniper trigger 1.9.4. Let's see. Whenever a player makes a die roll and it's surrounded by a sniper, the player rolling the trigger. So player rolling the sniper trigger reveals the top card of the draw pile and reads aloud the random hex. Alright, so the hex here is F3. F3 is over here, has nothing in it, so no sniper trigger there. And where were we? Oh yes, we had a 4 plus 13 is 17, so that's our total firepower roll, which means DeMoss has a 9 plus any kind of cover from grass? No. So a 9 plus a 4 is 13, which is enough to break DeMoss. Yowza. Okay, that's a little problematic. And then since we've activated B Division, they can't do anything again, so we will move another unit up. We'll bring this B Division up with a movement speed, with a movement of 5. So 2, 4, we'll do that. And then that was the Japanese 2 orders, so they'll draw back up. Okay. And for the U.S., I'm trying to keep an eye on my phone because I've got a delivery order out at one of my department stores. Speaking of which, hang on just a second while I deal with this. Perfect. Hold on just a second while I deal with this. Alright. Now where were we? Oh yes. Let's see. Let's go with... Let's go with a... Do we want to use another fire order, or do I want to try to get them closer? Let's try to get some of these units a little bit closer. So I'll use a move order. Actually, I'll hold that in my hand for a second because I just saw a response. Okay, coming back to this, we're going to start with a move order, and I'm going to move, I don't necessarily want to move DeMoss too much closer, because that's asking for trouble, so I'll move this weapon unit up here to, that's, okay. They wouldn't know about this objective not being important, so I think they're just going to move 2, 4. Like that. And what does Reconnoiter do? Let's see. Activate one unbroken suppressed leader with line of sight to the enemy. Is there a way we can... No units activated. Each revive point can remove a suppression or rally a broken unit. So I'll use a revive 1 to rally Demos. And the US will draw back up. Okay. Then looking at the Japanese. Let's see, for all Japanese units not yet activated. Okay, so we'll do a... So let's do a move order. We don't have a fire, unfortunately, so I'll use a move. I'll move this unit, this weapon unit over here. Jungles cost me 3 to move through? Yes. So 3, and then the movement point goes to waste. Then I'll use a charge to activate everything else for a move order. I'm not going to activate these 2, but I will activate 1, 3, 2, 4. Actually, let's go 2, 4 to get him into cover. 2, 4, -1. So actually, they can't move. I'll pretend I gave them to this unit, and they'll move here. Okay, 2 cards. Alright, for the US, let's go with... Let's go with a move order for Demos. So he'll move 2, 4, which will activate this rifle company, 2, 4, and this one, 2, 4. Then I think that is going to be it for the turn. We're just kind of moving pieces around, and I'm looking at... Alright, over to the Japanese, which probably just moved them into being a... Actually, yes, it did. So, they're going to use a fire order. So, Dainichi is still broken at this point. So I'll use B Division to take a shot at Demos. I can't make a fire team here because I'm not activating a command order. Because I'm not using a commander to do this. So he'll aim at Demos, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, he can definitely take the shot there. So that's our range. And we need to make sure we're at or above that. That's a 3, so we can make the shot, but we do get a sniper trigger out of that. So now we reveal a random hex. Here we find K5. K5 is right here with the U.S. Rifle Company. They're broken, thanks to a sniper. Alright, so the firepower here is an 8 plus a 5, which is 13. The defense for Demos is a 9, modified by... Not modified, so it was a 13. It was a 13. So 9 plus an 8 is... 9 plus 8 is a 17, which doesn't affect Demos. Then we'll use a move on... Then we'll use a move on this weapon company, and we'll move them up to D5. And that'll be it for the Japanese. Okay. Now I gotta see what the advance order does. The unit that's activated to advance can move into adjacent non-impassable hex regardless of movement cost. Let's see what the US wants to do here. They're going to go with... a fire order here, as DeMoss is going to activate with the rifle company. They're going to make a fire team in a minute here, but they're going to try to take out Dainichi over here. So that's a space of 3, which means the U.S. So the roll for DeMoss is a 25. He can definitely take the shot. He'll activate with the rifle company. 10 plus 6 is 16, plus the fire roll. 16 plus an 8 is a 24. Dainichi's got a 6 on defense. He doesn't get any cover from the grass, so a 6 plus. A 5 is an 11, but we have an event pause, so let's see what our event is. Breezy. All blazes spread in direction 4. Move all smoke markers 1 hex in direction F4. Okay, so that's what the... So that's probably what that's probably what the hex was when I was setting up last night. There's also a down here just in shot in the lower corner. So hexes would spread down to the south, presumably, of the map, but there's no blazes to spread. Sorry, just responding to a message here. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, so that's what happens there. But the roll, let's see, it was 6 plus 5 is 11, which is lower than half of the roll. So since it was already broken, since Dainichi was already broken, that probably just takes him out. If the defense total is half, the unit is eliminated. So actually, yeah, that would be 6 plus 5 is 11. So yeah, that is enough to take Dainichi off the board. And is there a space for eliminated units to go? Probably not. So it looks like this just goes back to the box. So I will put this back in the aforementioned box. Okay, that was actually pretty good for the US. Then they are going to... Are they going to do another fire here? I don't think so, no. They're just going to draw back up and call it a turn there. And the US is... I think I'm figuring out part of what I didn't like about Combat Commander originally. If you're sitting there, you potentially can get to a point very easily where you're just basically swapping cards out to get what you need. The Japanese really don't have much they can do right now either. So they're going to discard 2 cards and draw back up as well. I'm actually going to grab a turn marker as well, so I can use that to help me keep track of whose turn it actually is. But yeah, I think I'm honestly starting to kind of cool off again and remember why I didn't much care for Combat Commander originally. The US will discard 2 and draw back up. Okay. As for the Japanese, they look like they're going to do some advancing as well here. Well, they might do some advancing here this turn. Yeah. So activate is... So it looks like advance is just another version of activating for movement. At least that's... Enter one of the 6 hexes where it can occupy. Units movement as well as terrain. So it looks like they just move adjacent. So we'll send this weapons unit up here. And then another advance to bring this weapon unit over to F7. Then over to the US's turn. Let's go for a Let's go for a move, and I'll bring Sergeant Savage up along with the rifle company right here. So moving, let's see, that is a bush. So we'll go 2, 4, let the 5th point float away. 1, 3, let the last point float away. And then a fire order for the U.S. We'll use that to aim DeMoss at this B division with the light machine gun. 1, 2, 3. Definitely within range. So let's see if we can take the shot. That's a 6. We can, but we have the event first. So let's see what the event is here. Mission objective. Draw 1 secret objective chit. So now we need these. So now we need these for the U.S. And technically this would be, if you were playing 2-player, this would be hidden information. But since I'm playing it solo on the channel, this is going to be open information. And here we will find Objective A. So we need to get to Objective 1. That's all the way down here. That'll be 1 victory point for the U.S. Okay. So the 6 means we can fire. Actually, yeah, the 6 means we can fire. So now we're going to make a fire attack team. Let's see, targeting and hindrances. We don't have anything modifying that. Actually, we do have grass modifying that down by 3. Units firepower, okay. So the unit there, so DeMoss is a 10, plus we're going to use the rifle company as a 6 for a 16. That'll modify down to a 13. So we'll make our attack roll, and our attack roll will be a 4, so plus that we'll go to 17. The defense of the morale for B division is an 8. So let's see if they survive the roll. Plus 8 is 16. So since it's exactly equal, if it's equal to, the unit becomes suppressed unless it's currently activated to move. So B division becomes suppressed. And I don't know. Oh, yep, I do have suppressed chits in here. So they are suppressed. And I believe that was both of the... Yep, I don't think there's anything else we can do there. So the U.S. will draw back up. 1, 2. As for the Japanese... let's see. Well, Reconnoiter just became useless for the Japanese now that they don't have their leader on the board anymore. So they will discard 2 and draw back up. Looking at the U.S., they're also going to dump a couple of command confusions and draw back up to call it a turn. We'll move over to the Japanese again, but I haven't. You guys can probably tell here that I'm getting near my tap out point with this game. Yeah. I think we're at that tap. I think we're at that point where I'm just going to call it here and call it a game of Combat Commander Pacific. I don't know if I was... Admittedly, it might have been a me problem coming in, kind of a little bit biased against Combat Commander, because my first time I played Combat Commander was actually against Jester, and I remember distinctively not being a big fan of Combat Commander at that time. That was also after I traded for Combat Commander Pacific. So I wanted to at least give it an honest try. So I played Combat Commander with Jester, and I wanted to give this an honest try as well. But I don't know. I know Jester's a huge fan of having that tension of oh, can I get the card I need? Or, oh, I'm waiting to achieve just this objective, but I need this card to get it. I find that to be kind of frustrating, for me at least, especially when you're having to discard, especially when you're basically cycling through the deck constantly. And the fact that time only that essentially progressing the game only triggers when you get a time roll, when you get a time card. Actually, let me see if I had an example of that in one of the discard piles. Not over here. I wonder if hopefully there was one in the Japanese discard pile so I can show you. Here we go. So the fact that the time comes up on the rolls, it was kind of bothersome to me. So where you get to the point where a game can very much feel like a slog, which I really don't like that. I don't mind well, unfortunately, Conflict, you're kind of a little bit late to the party because I'm actually wrapping this up. I'm talking about why I'm ending up not being a fan of Combat Commander Pacific and why this game is probably moving out of my collection. I know Jester really loves this game. It's not working for me, and maybe it's the fact that I'm still learning it, but. And admittedly, I kind of came into this game a little bit biased from that first impression of playing it with Jester last year. So I don't think that's helping me. I don't think that's helping me any in terms of what I think of this game now, giving it a try. So I'm rambling a bit, but that's kind of where things are at. So I'll wrap this video up. We are going to have actually, we're probably going to have a full day of games coming up on the channel. I'm going to go wait for my delivery from Meyer to come in. Then I should be able to get my next workout in. Then we'll play another game in the afternoon. Then I'll have one more in the evening. As for what's coming up on the channel that's scheduled, tomorrow we're going to be continuing Metal Gear Mondays. And yep, all good Conflict. Hopefully you enjoy me pushing pieces around and getting mildly frustrated with this game. Anyway, here's what's coming up on the channel scheduled. Monday, tomorrow night, we're going to be making our initial infiltration into Shadow Moses Island and the heliport as we continue Metal Gear Mondays with Metal Gear Solid, the board game. Wednesday, we're having another boxing bout and title bout 2. And Saturday, Mystical Munchies will continue out of the Star Wars Life Day cookbook with a dessert, Klaatuine crepes. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Excuse me. Until then, take care, everyone.